Chakram is insane. We know Chakram is insane. So that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're exploring the Chakram user. To answer the question, how good is Priya actually? And what better way to do that than by taking a look at all of her signatures one by one. Starting, of course, with Chakram NSig. This move is it's very interesting. I got hit by it like 30 times in my first hour or so of playing against Priya. I think it's a lot harder to gauge how good his signature is on a new weapon because we don't know really the weapon's full strengths and weaknesses yet. However, this Sig is pretty interesting. You can see right there, it's active for a good while. You can use it to recover as well. I got it twice there and I made it back. It's a pretty strong move, to say the very least. I don't know if it has a good parallel to another Sig in the game. Sorry, that's not a good way to start off a game's commentary. I'm just gonna downlight here, is what I would say. It's what I'm gonna do, actually. Because it's active for so long, this hitbox stays out forever. I mean, you kind of saw it in the last time I hit it, not that time, the one in the previous game. And that makes it distinct from something like the Chakram NSig, which functionally it is similar. You jump up into the sky and then you reverse the opponent backwards, but the timing of it all, just so different. I think it'll take a little while to really understand the positions that make it good again because it's on a new weapon, but I don't think a move like this can ever be bad. It has all the fluidity you could ever need. Look at how you jump up there and just that hitbox up there. Any kind of reversal will always have at least some kind of utility, even if niche. Like that. That was not intentional at all, but it's okay. Sometimes the best things are unintentional. Like me. Kidding, I'm kidding. I would never call myself one of the best things. One of the best things about this move, though, is its jolt of movement. The way you leap up like that makes it very difficult to punish, but it's one of those characteristics that just makes it leaps and bounds ahead of some other things that may work similarly. It's just harder to punish because it does that. And also harder to read and predict, especially if you're unfamiliar with the hitboxes. Which I definitely am. Playing against Priya is not something that I have the most practice with, given that I am recording this still on day 1 of her release. Even with it being day 1 though, it can be day 0 and we can identify that Chakram may struggle against these diagonal angles. So this being a diagonal is kind of great because you can just throw it out and sometimes you might get a knockout for it. It also has another version if you use it on the wall, it goes straight up. Thank you for watching my videos, by the way. To join the Discord and subscribe. Sorry. Well, would you look at that? Battle Boots, by the way, came out 2 years ago now. It's kind of crazy. Did you see how I reset my jumps by hitting the ground with this? That's a little tech. I discovered that while playing ranked. I don't know which video will come out first, but anyway, let me move on from this move because we've kind of seen what this thing is capable of. Look at that inability to punish there, and then you can, of course, make it back to stage with it as well. I could have timed that maybe a tiny bit better. Maybe a tiny bit. Either way, I'm just spamming at this point. They probably know what I'm going for. It still was working, shockingly. Wait, let me just get it to get the KO, and then we'll move on to Chakram SSig. This is your traditional signature. It's exactly what you expect. It is a good version of it though, because of the movement, because of the mobility. Like even if you're doing it in the reverse direction, it has so much movement. It has a lot of priority. You saw right there, it interrupted their attack. You move forward, which means it's gonna KO earlier if you hit it closer to the edge of the stage. Yeah, it is. I read that, I promise I read that. Okay, bye. What if I told you I lied? And I didn't read it at all, and I was just guessing, and I was just hoping. Okay, but is guessing and hoping not kind of what reading is anyway? Like, let's be honest. Let's be real here. Brawlhalla is one big game of rock, paper, scissors, and I am selecting, gun. Apparently. Look at how every single thing hit there. Yeah, the mobility, if you catch someone's movement, like off guard or out of position with this thing, it can get a little wild because of how far you go. This might be the spammed one, you know? Like, I'm gonna recover high here. Look at the priority! Yeah, it is kind of a force field. That doesn't mean it's unpunishable, but you really get going here. Can I KO with the downside of... I didn't even get to finish saying it. If you didn't know, I just found this out too. If you hit the down air and it's on the way up, all the force just gets transferred vertically. I would bet millions that move gets nerfed. maybe thousands that this one does. I think something about it is going to change. I don't know exactly what. Maybe it's the speed, maybe it's the recovery time, but for the time being, it reminds me a little bit of some of the SIGs of yonder that we've had, like a Thea side SIG on release, for example. It's quite good. Thank you for the lift. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Moves so good it got me to voice crack. Of course, when I'm using these SIGs, it appears a lot better in actual gameplay when you're actually using it than when I'm using the same one over and over and over again. There's some little tech, by the way, platforms that you can get. It's a little fancy. Of course, recovering high, getting all the distance. I think this one is a sleeper favorite because of the janky movement. I mean, it's making my camera even get all jittery when I'm going forward. That was clean. Again, I guess I'm sort of using one move over and over and over again, and maybe it's getting a little predictable at this point, but I'm just trying to demonstrate. You're joking! I can't even be held responsible for that. I did the best I could. Now I'm thinking I do the platform one, okay? I go here. Uh-oh. That's okay. I'll have another try. Did not get another try. If you're curious about the damage values, with the exception of the NSig, which does 25 about, it's not very much. Of course, this one is going to depend if you hit all of the hits. If you connect it like everything, it's going to deal about 22. Only the end, though, you're going to be looking at only 15. And while we're here, I might as well show off the down SIG, also sitting at 22. So these are not really dealing that much damage. It's mostly about the utility and the hitboxes that are going to get you there. It's partly to do with Priya's archetype. She only has 4 base strength, and it's also partly due to Chakram itself. The moves don't really deal all that much damage. You gotta be hitting a lot of them in a row to really get the full advantage. I just made it back to stage from there. Very standard, of course, but when anything's new, it's fun. It's fun to do something that you've never done before. So I say as I weapon toss all the way up into the ceiling and then throw. Ouch. That's okay. I have my trusty move. I said my spiel on this. I mean, I kind of got lost in the spiel. So let's move on to Chakram DSig. Kind of a crazy move. I mean, you saw earlier, it hits behind. You can create scenarios where you're intentionally setting yourself up to hit in the reverse with the later hitbox, kind of like unarmed, except more intentional instead of like complete luck, which is 90% of when I hit that move reverse. I got disarmed. And then I saw a bomb, and now I just got a bad feeling. I gotta start listening to these bad feelings. At first, it can be a little awkward to use because you have a little jump forward. So if you're trying to hit someone behind you, you can't do it there. You actually have to be stacked. If you're even a little bit in front, it's not gonna connect. But that's actually not really a bad thing because as you can tell, hitting stacked is gonna be very good when you have moves that pull your opponent into your area. So this little spin to win move has a lot of situations where it might come into play. I don't know why there's so many bombs spawning today. It's just the universe trying to tell me something. Okay. They gotta stop doing this to me. Now, I'm gonna try to play this stock normally, or I guess as normally as I can given my current mental state, obviously, and then create scenarios where DSig would be very appealing as an option. Like right there, for example, knowing that I have a dodge set up, and if it hits and sends forward, right, it's gonna get a potential knockout. Not like you need to use it in a place like that. Maybe I could get more damage if I didn't, but it's just an example. All right, I only really thought about it in the last game, so now let's take this full entire game to try and not just create scenarios for the DSig, but observe scenarios where it might be good. This is a giant ceiling here. Like right here, is a signature the best option? No, I don't think so, because I do have a guaranteed KO combo. Now, just because something isn't optimal doesn't mean that you can't use it at all. Now, that situation, it definitely is better to go for the knockout, right? Guaranteed knockouts are amazing. But even just using a signature early on in a read can deal so much mental damage to people that then they just start panicking every time. My Nair just dropped and dealt 3 damage. That was excellent. So now, they might be afraid to even dodge near my side light at all, and I can potentially create a situation where they dodge early, get some nice damage, maybe even get a knockout out of this. That worked out perfectly. Now they might be a lot more careful about dodging, or they might just do the same dodge when I'm using this move. It also might create some gamer anger. They might start to get frustrated, might start to play rushed, especially when trying to punish it. They really want to get the punish on this move now. That also might leave them open to more other weirdness. Typically, it's the same It was close. It was close. The other signatures in your kit, maybe bombs too. Who knows? Who knows? Apparently, yes. Regardless, I'm gonna split this, and I'm gonna go for a down sig, and I don't think it's gonna hit. Never mind. Okay, I actually did not want that one to hit, but it's okay. I'll apply the same theory to this game. I'll go for early signature reads, and then that might create scenarios where they're more vulnerable to other stuff, where even though I might get more damage if I get the full read of the string, maybe having something that reads more options like that down sig that is ultimately less damage but grants more coverage for more options. Think about something like Axe Ground Pound after Sidelight Nair. Like, look at that. I have no business getting these reads, but the down sig enables it because I mean, it's just huge. It's ginormous. Now they're almost certainly looking out for that move, which leaves them more susceptible to things like that. It's like having a bunch of different patterns your opponent has to try to figure out. I don't think they're gonna give this to me. I jumped into it. Yes. Consensus on the Chakram kit. It's very spin to win. I suppose that comes with the territory. That's kind of obvious, but I mean it in a literal brawlhalla way, where when we have moves that spin, usually there's usually the I'm dead. Usually, they're very good and create vortexes that opponents really can struggle against, or at the very least can cover a lot of options, like, you know, this down. Actually, I should have just done it there. That down sig. I'm gonna get reversed unless I do the reversing. Yeah, we're fine. I don't think we're in Imugi spin to win territory, but it's definitely something. Oh my god, I didn't even get punished for my down sig there. I got punished for what I did after. Look at the hitbox. Okay, so now we've conditioned. Down sig exists. And now I'm gonna bring out side sig when it actually matters. I'm not gonna do it now. I'm gonna do it when it's gonna KO. I don't wanna show my hand too early. I don't wanna show my cards. That's for Balatro. Oh, I've dodged. Oh my god, I'm good. I'm actually fine. What if I was really cheeky? Give me this. No. Give me this. Give me this. Give me this. Give me this. I thought it would go on them. I guess I could have dodged. I was so committed though. All right, now it's a last stock scenario. This is where hitting something unexpected really counts. You know what I'm saying? That's not the right range for that. Gonna recovery here, nair. Now, they know I like this move. Okay, see, they were even ready for it. They were stood there, but are they ready for the cross map side sig? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Do you think so? Because they weren't. They were not. And my point was proven. We can go home happy. And now, let me move on. It's like the worst move to use in that situation. It sends downward. Let me move on to the sword. Okay, starting, of course, with the Omega hitbox move. This one scared me from the moment I saw it. I'm talking about Sword NSig. If the Chakram kit was noticeably above average, a lot of those moves are kind of crazy, and I expect them to be nerfed, with the caveat that it's really hard to make a definitive full statement just because Chakram is so new. This is completely different, because we know Sword. We know hitboxes. We know that that is not okay. Like, what are we doing? When this game is over, I will show you the hitbox in training mode, but I don't think you need a hitbox to see that. I've committed for the rest of the stock to only using this move. Okay. Okay, do you see how they're just staying on the ground? Maybe I've been using one move the whole game. It's okay. I still get it though. I still get it. Okay, look at this. If it was honestly just the hitbox, whatever. You know, we've seen big hitboxes before. That's nothing new. What makes this truly an Imugi tier sig is the recovery frames, or the lack thereof, I should say. We're missing. Because this thing, it's nigh unpunishable. Look at how I'm just able to jump immediately after using it. I'm not even trying to hit it right now. I'm just trying to demonstrate. And even so, like nothing, nada. Top tier. Of course, I do gotta tell you, nothing is unpunishable. If you use it out of position, you can get hit. And then the stock might slip away, the game might slip away even, or a full set, if that's the tempo you're gaming under. But, used in the right spots, it's just deadly. It's actually kind of perfect, because I'm queued into a Valhallan opponent right now, someone very experienced with the game, experienced with punishing, using all their movement, using all their hitboxes and everything, and we'll see how effective this still is. Even under that circumstance, even under this situation, I am just using it like crazy. Now, of course, there's the new character element that makes all of this different, but there I read a jump, got the knockout for it. And the risk was pretty minimal. You can see, pretty low commitment. And everything that I said about the Chakram moves, where if you're really using one thing and your opponent is falling prey to it, that's what they're going to be thinking of, and it makes all of your other moves much more powerful. Do you see the distance that I cover there? The threat area that they have to be aware of. I'm going to use it reverse here, and I'm fine. Like, and I'm dead to it now. They're not too happy, it seems, maybe. But, like I said, anything can still be punished. It's about knowing your spots, and for a move like this, those spots are bigger than most other moves in the game. So, you can kind of get away with a lot. Oh, did you see? Their movement got stopped there for a second, and that's what stopped me from getting that GC downlight, I think, is what I used. Either way, completely ridiculous signature. Absolutely gonna get nerfed. If we're talking the series name, we're talking about Priya being a problem. This is suspect number one. This is the prime contender for maybe a little bit of an overtuned situation here. I thought they were gonna nair me and get a chase dodge, and then I was gonna help them. And final stock game. They've had 2 stocks to adapt. I mean, I'm still getting it. If they jump here, no jump. Okay, that time they were ready. So now I start throwing in some other things. I do an empty hop before doing it. That means I hop and I do nothing, and then I do it. And then suddenly the timing is different, and they didn't punish it. And then I missed them. But you get the idea. Now I'm gonna dash back and forth. I'm gonna dash jump, and then I do it. It's so good. It's really so good. That was actually just an accident. I didn't even mean to use it there. It's just in my blood now. It's in my bones. I see a bomb, which is a little dangerous for me. I just lost my sword for that. It's okay. I think this might be the reason why I go, but at least I go back the way that I went in. C section. What? This might have just been like the longest section of all time. I've been yapping nonstop, so let me move on now to sword side sig. This is one of the more basic moves, but I think it's gonna fly under the radar. It's actually very good. It's not sword NSig good, so it gets the middle child treatment. Actually very apt, because the down sig is gonna get a lot of love merely for the fact that it's a spike, which leaves the side sig hanging a little bit. It's not a bad move by any means. Actually, the fact that it has all this momentum, it's very similar to the other one, where you kind of just go flying, is very good. It's a very, very good feature of it. You don't need dash to go flying, like with the Bodvar side sig, for example. Which I will say, it feels a little bit similar to, I think among the sword users, probably Asuri's sword side sig, like mid-charged, is akin to it. Not really though. I don't know. It has a heft to it. It has a weight. It has a good amount of startup if you haven't used it. And that's where that feeling comes from. The hitbox at the end is really nice. They know I'm going for it, so it's gonna be harder to hit for sure. But you can see it's like that big crescent moon. It doesn't reach as high as like Nick's Scythe side sig, which I guess is also kind of similar to this move, but it's in the same camp. I'm about to die. I don't know if I'm gonna get the KO with side sig here. It's a lot harder to hit a move when your opponent knows you're going for one thing. I do it anyway. Okay, that was dumb. But you know what? That paints the picture quite well, in all honesty. For all of these other signatures, I've kind of just been using them over and over and over again. And I've, yes, been getting hit way too much for going for it, but it's a game plan that's been working, with the exception now of, that's unfortunate, of the stinker of the bunch. It's not a bad sig. It's just not an amazing sig. The main thing that's holding this back is the startup. And in some cases, the priority too. You really have to have a read if you want to consistently land this, because it takes a while. It takes a good while. Like right there, I knew they were going to come inward. I knew they were probably going to dodge into the ground, and so I'm going to do it. And there's that big end hitbox I was talking about. But yeah, you can't just use it all the time like you can with the previous sig. That's why I say it's kind of like the Bodvar side sig, because that's a move that you use if you do have a read, and it also has a little bit of a vertical hitbox. If we're being really real though, if this move is the stinker of the bunch, then you're not doing too bad. And I would love to keep talking about this signature, but unfortunately I just got a ringing pain in my ear, which is a signal that it is just about time to stop here. So let me move on to the final move in her kit. The only one that I have truly yet to discuss, the one that does the most amount of damage. By the way, the sword NSig does like 20 damage, which is some of the lowest you will find in any sig, and it makes sense because of everything else. At least it's not hitting like a truck, you know? The down sig, on the other hand, does about like 25 to 26, which is quite good. That was a complete misinput. That was actually very sad. I was talking about down sig, I wanted a GC down sig, and then I side sig by accident, I fat fingered. That's okay though, because I still hit it there. It does a good amount of damage like I mentioned before, so that's not a bad part about it. Its hitbox is really, really good. Like, really, really good. Like, you see, it's not even in the camera. It hits so high, it's not even in the camera. And for a spike, that functionality, like, yeah, that's all you could ask for. The hitbox is Nyx NSig if it was just souped up like crazy. And we all know what Nyx NSig is capable of. So it would have been great if a weapon would spawn anytime so that I could maybe edgeguard and get a down sig. However, I think Nyx NSig is probably better. And that's a little crazy to say because we saw how high this thing hits up. Like, grab from the top of the platform high. However, it has two glaring weaknesses. One obvious, one not so obvious. So what are they? Well, the first one, it just takes a while. It takes a long time for that move to come out. Enough to where your opponent can react, maybe even throw their weapon down. Like that previous edgeguard scenario, if that Priya threw their weapon down, they were probably totally fine. That is, if it hit before the actual hitbox connected, because you can't weapon toss interrupt when you're already in hit stun, but you know what I'm saying. A spike that comes out quickly is at a huge advantage compared to one that doesn't, because it has the power of reactability on its side, where if someone is ground pounding, you can Nyx NSig, and then you get a reversal. But with this one, you really have to preempt it a long time ahead of time. And the more people practice against Priya, the more they'll be ready for that. So this is the type of move that requires a read. I mean, I kind of just showed it right there just to show it. You can't use it when your opponent is rushing you down, which is part of what makes Nyx's so scary. You, as the edge guarder, always have to be ready to react. This one is less so. Now, the other weakness that's less obvious is the momentum. Nyx, if I dash NSig here, I go off the map. Priya, you just get stuck. And that is a much bigger deal than it may seem on the surface, because sliding into NSigs is part of how you can safely get so many of these dodge reads that turn into early stocks. Brawlhalla is a game about movement, really. If you ask insert player here about how do I improve, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably say, take a look at that movement. Give that movement a little a sniff. So, of course, something restricting your movement is going to be quite the downside. Now, with all that said, the move is not bad. It's actually the opposite. The move is very, very strong. It's just it has weaknesses that are actually pronounced and I think more integrated into its kit compared to something like that. It's also active for a long time, which certainly helps on that upswing. You gotta be mindful of the angle, because unless you're really at the ledge, it's gonna send back on stage and never kill. But otherwise, it's one of these cheese moves that can just steal away stocks. So use it as you see fit, and I'm gonna start using all 6 of these signatures now in this final match as I see fit. One thing that I didn't mention about the Chakram signatures is it's really nice to have potential string knockout tools when you're in the split mode, because generally this is, you know, not gonna KO for a long time. But if you can get someone close enough to where you can bring them inward and set up into a down sig, then you're chilling. The Chakram kit feels above average. Of course, we have no benchmark of Chakram characters to base it off, but they feel like they are going to get nerfed, just knowing what I know about Brawlhalla. I kind of missed the stage there. I think I can still make it back though. Oh, yes I can. What was I saying about above average? The sword kit is very interesting. They feel kind of average for that move. This one, I don't even know how to rate that. The NSig, however, like that, they were just underneath. They were just underneath. So that is something to behold. I don't even know. How do you rate this thing? You got 1 god tier signature, you have 1 average signature, and then you have 1 cheese signature. So I don't even know. That makes it hard. That certainly does make it hard. She's not Imugi, but she's not really Reno either. All in all, I expect people to keep playing her even as more Chakram characters are added, unless she sees some significant nerfs, which may very well happen. Yo, this is future Eggsoup's opinion in 5 seconds. It seems as if the GOAT has agreed, but I also think that Sword NSig's damage and force does hurt it more than I initially thought, so while it's still kind of a god tier sig, previous releases still may be a little bit better. That's it, subscribe, join the Discord, goodbye.